Hey, I thought I would do a 2D platformer from scratch. So I just went over to the Unity store. I'm just looking for some free stuff, and I'll put some links below. But I'm looking for an effect, and I brought that in right here. This particular artist, actually, I really like them. They have some really good art, and if you go in there, you can see a lot of their stuff. And I'm gonna go. I've already done this portion, but if I go say look up 2D, and we're just gonna go free, right? I don't want to do something that you guys may not have access to, so I went and grabbed this one here, Sunnyland for 2D. I've imported that. So now, again, I'll put the links below so that you guys will just have a quick access to all this audio, because audio adds so much depth into anything you're making. It is essential. And this one here, actually I've got this one of the projects I'm currently working on, but sound bits. Okay, so I've got a totally blank scene. There is absolutely nothing here, and I'm going to go up to the package manager and lightweight render pipeline. I've already got this part installed, but install that. Okay, and once that's installed, absolutely nothing's going to happen. So what you need to do, so I've got a little folder here called R stuff, and I'm going to create a rendering asset, our renderer, and then more importantly, or just as importantly, I'm going to create a 2D renderer. Okay, so I got both of those. If I now go up to project settings, under the graphics here, I am going to drag our renderer into that, just like that. And then if I click on our renderer, it's using this guy, and I'm going to tell it to use that guy. We are now in a 2D specialized rendering system, and that gives us the ability, just by doing that, for these 2D lights. Okay, like I have this 2D light now. It is my sun, and I'm gonna excuse me, give it just a touch of yellow, just hardly even notice it, right? You can also adjust lighting so that they affect only certain layers, but I'm not going to worry about that. So if I go into Sunnyland here, we need a background. Let's stick him there. Ordering layer, I'm going to put him, make sure he's behind everything. This middle ground, let's have some of those. I'm actually going to use these in a couple different ways. I'm going to put this guy here, duplicate him a few times with Control D. I'm going to click on them. I'm actually going to darken them. Okay, and I'm going to put them on the ordering layer of -4. And then I'm going to take one of them and I'm going to duplicate him and put him on the ordering layer of -3. And I'm going to lighten him back up. And now you can see how we have almost this kind of like stacking effect, right? Kind of like that. Let's create this guy, because we don't want a messy project folder. Environment. Now let's just grab all of this, stick them in there. Okay, that's kind of what this looks like. Not too shabby for nothing. So here we have land, and sliced and non-sliced. I'll do another tutorial on what what those are. So we need the sliced, and that's, as you can see, that's non-sliced, right? It's one sheet, it's not sliced up. To actually do that slicing is actually really easy. But for now, we're going to take that guy. He's going to need a box collider so we can at least interact with it. I don't know, we'll stick him around here. And let's give him a physics material. So a physics material, you can do various things. So when you have physics and something, say, bounce or hit something, you can have it, that thing you're hitting naturally be bouncy or not bouncy, things like that. So if I go over here and go create physics material, 2D, let's say terrain, right? So I can give it friction and I can give it bounciness. So I'm just going to put him default right now for zeros. And I'm going to stick him in there. So now this little guy here we can interact with. And I'm going to just drag him over and duplicate them. I'm going to grab them all and drag them over and duplicate them. And grab all those and duplicate those and drag those all. Okay, and then I'm going to take all of these and stick them in here, so I don't have to see them anymore. Okay, so our camera, as you can see, is this crazy view right now, and we're going to bring that down. We want to zoom in. We're going to go say a point, 0.8, and there's our little camera. You can adjust this however you'd like. So every game needs a hero. Let's create a hero. Let's call him player. Now, it is a really good idea that you develop layers for everything and tags, right? This by default, I just already have a tag called player, right? I've actually made this layer, but if you go add, you can just make layers. So I've made a layer called player. Let's stick our player on that layer. One of the nice things about layers is if you go up to your project settings, and go into physics 2D, you have this guy. This is your matrix. These are what things on what layers can hit with other layers, right? So if I don't want my player to be able to hit certain things, I can uncheck that. Right now it's fine the way it is. And down the road that will get modified as we make like an enemy layer and stuff like that. So our player doesn't look like very much. So we want our player, and he needs to be animated. So we'll give him an animator. And folder, here's our player. And let's click on our player and say, go up to our windows, animation. Now if I go into Sunnyland, not in those, in the sprites, yes, player, I can go to the idle. Okay, so I can create a new animation called player idle. So there's player idle, and I can drag all of these just like that. Okay, now as you see, we now have this player going ballistic, and if I expand these out, it slows them down, right? So you can set this wherever you like. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to have them going to the 1 mark there. Okay, so that's idle. Okay, how about player move? Okay, so player move, let's go to the run, and let's grab all of those, drag them in there. How does that look? All crazy. Let's go out to say about the 30-second mark. That's pretty good. Okay, so just by doing that, if I now click on my player, go to my animator, there's my 2 clips. Okay, so if I make a transition to and fro, let's add a bool is walking. So has exit time false, is walking is false. We're gonna go, nope, is true. We're gonna go from idle to move. Uncheck that. Is walking is true. Yeah, so we're here, we're moving, we're not walking, we go up this way into here. In here, we're walking is true, we go here. So there we go. Now if I hit play, not in like that, I don't have a game window. Okay, let's, oh yes I do, it's right there. Where is our player? There he is. So let's not maximize. So as you see, he's idle, he's running, idle, running, just like that. Now why we don't see him here, let's go up and check out our camera. So we have a calling which is that. Why is he not seen? Oh, well, let's. Oh, yeah, right. I didn't give him a sprite to begin with. I'm just going to drag over the first idle. Okay, so our player sitting there, and we still don't see our player. Oh, that's probably why. So, like I said, so we put everything over to a 2D renderer. Okay. And we have this guy who's using this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to render pipeline. We're going to go over here and we're going to upgrade. We still don't see our player. There's our player. We had our camera all weird there, so our player was probably on a layer, and our camera was probably behind our player. So, that was just weird. Well, anyway, so there's our little player. And if I said I go over and I turn that bool, he's running. Pretty simple. So what we want is our player to interact with things. So we're going to give him a capsule 2D. And we're going to shrink it down so it suits him a little better. And we're going to give this thing a physics layer of our player, which is exactly the same as the terrain one. And let's give him a rigid body. We'll make a rigid body controller. And we need that to continuous. And we need to freeze the rotation because we don't want them to fall over. So now we have a player that falls. Okay. So there's a few different ways we can do this. First, let's use get axis relative to our camera. Store the vector. Store the magnitude. Okay, now we need to, we're going to use set force. Or set velocity, sorry. 2D. Put it below everything. And we can set the force. Okay, so get axis vector is based off of 3 axes. So we need to kind of extract that x. So that's really all we need is the x. So from the vector, store x. There we go. Now we can set x. Now we have a simple guy moving back and forth. So the other thing we want is we want to get FSM float from the move the magnitude. This is why we stored magnitude. This and float compare. And if it's greater than 0.1, then we are moving. So we're going to go to a move state. We're going to copy this. Right, so we're just going to go, so in this one we're doing the exact same thing, but now we're going to take that away and go, if we go less, you know, and to make it less confusing, let's just get rid of that and change this to stopping. There, it might make a little more sense. Okay, so what we're going to do with this is now move this to the top. Is walking here is true. You don't need it every frame. And paste before is walking is false. So we're saying we're not walking and we're testing. We're going to test the magnitude of the vector in the movement, and if it's greater, we're going to go over here. And we're doing the same thing, but now we have walking. Okay, so now we have this. Oh, you see how he's going from the idle to the walk state. Nice and simple. Even though I called that flip. So let's call this one flip. And call this one idle to move. So flipping is we need to get FSM vector. Well, we can just get the vector too, I guess. From the move. Oh, that's right. We didn't make a vector. We just took the x out of it. So let's get the vector 3. From the move, the vector, stored as vector every frame. And we are going to extract the X again. So what we're going to do is if the X is greater than 0.1, we're going to go right, and we're going to copy this, and here we're going to do the exact same thing, but if we are less than negative 0.1, we're going to go left. And then we're going to flip, set sprite flip, move that to the top. Owner, we're going to flip him on his X here to true, paste before to false. Let's test that because I might have that backwards. Oh, what's happening? Get vector 3 variable, vector. Whoops. Forgot to fill in the little variable. Alright, so there we have. So we have magnitude that's controlling him if he's idle or moving. And then we're taking the vector X to see what direction we are, and we're flipping based on that. Nice and simple. Now, if say we want to add a jump. Or not, let's not get button. Get key. Oh. Space. So to jump, all we're going to do is add force. 2D force in the Y by 2. So we hit space and he launches. He's going up in the air. We then want a wait, just a short one. 0.3 seconds is fine. Move that to the bottom. And then we're going to come down to here, and we want to test for being grounded. So we're going to raycast 2D, going negative Y, which is down, space self, distance 1. We'll debug to make sure the distance is good, and hit event. For now, we're just going to do grounded, or ground, and then we'll come back over here. So for now, is that not enough force? Oh, there we go. So yeah, let's change this to force mode impulse. 4 was actually pretty good. Let's go 3.5. Close that. And there we have a little guy that can jump. He can run around and he can jump. So I think maybe I'll leave the rest for another video, where maybe we can add some sounds and some platforms. I can show you how you can move through a platform and then land on it. Because if I just duplicate these ones, I'll show you what happens. Which, and maybe this is the effect you want, but as you can see, I just hit my head on it, right? but I'll add one where we can do sprinting, jumping, some sound effects, maybe an attack. I'll bring in some enemies. We'll do that all in the next video. How about? Sounds good? Alright, talk to you guys later.